again, your community will drive your brand. So what we've realized is that our community really celebrates play. Like we really strongly celebrate playing with our dogs and giving them those amazing experiences. So if you go anywhere on socials, you will largely see our customers and their pets, and we're just shining a spotlight on them. And UGC is a great, strong social content play strategy, but also what's what we want to see. I had my reservations. I thought, man, my company's not big enough yet. We don't have the product that I'd really love to have for this type of a thing. I have a degree in economics, so I'm very analytical background. So I looked at the products that do really, really well on Shark Tank, and they're largely lower cost products. So they're, the products I brought on Shark Tank cost nearly $500. And so, you really talk yourself out of a lot of opportunities. But I hand drew actually the first logo. I kind of made it look like a dog running, but it also was the lettering. I am not an artist. It was not my best work. But that brings me to something, and I'm a strong believer in this with everything, branding, product, and that's MVP, minimum viable product, which is like get something good enough and get it out there.
Hey guys, before I start the podcast, a quick introduction. My name is Warnith and I'm the founder of Pet Excel Marketing. Pet Excel Marketing is a marketing agency that specifically works with pet businesses. Over the years, we have worked with pet food brand, pet relocation businesses, pet SaaS companies, pet clothing brand, cat food businesses, dog grooming services, and many other product and service-based pet businesses globally. Our services includes everything from creating graphics to running your ad campaign. Not only that, we have built amazing websites and apps for pet businesses. So if you have a pet business and would like us to help grow it, click on the first link in the description to book a call with our team. Now enjoy the podcast. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Pet Brand Podcast, where we bring you inspiring stories, actionable insight, and strategies from founders, CEOs, and entrepreneurs in the pet industry. I'm your host Warnith, and today we have an exciting guest, Meghan Wolfgram, the founder and CEO of SwiftPaws. SwiftPaws is a health and wellness lifestyle brand for pets, creating products that provide both mental and physical enrichment for dogs. She started SwiftPaws by building professional-grade lure coursing equipment for dog sports and eventually brought it into homes everywhere with her innovative home kits. Along the way, Meghan and SwiftPaws reached new heights, including appearing on Shark Tank, which brought national attention to the brand. But her journey has been far more than that. It's about passion, innovation, and making life better for pets everywhere. Meghan, thank you so much for being a part of Pet Brand Podcast.
Oh, Warren, thank you so much for having me.
Great. And let's start by getting to know you and your journey. Many of our listeners, are curious about what inspires pet entrepreneurs. So can you share a bit about your personal journey and how your love for animals evolved into founding now SwiftPaws?
Yeah, so I've always had a love for animals. I mean, since I was small. And I think I finally wore my parents down when I was about 8 years old and begged them for a dog for years, up until the point where we finally got my first family dog about that time. And I think just like so many other people, pets provide an incredible resource for us. I was also an only child, and so we sort of jokingly said that my first dog, Snickers, was my sister growing up. But in reality, there's very little like a pet that can provide you with this sort of unconditional love and something that just relies on you, and that the bond and the relationship that you have with your pet is 100% your making. And so I think they give so many people just incredible meaning in life, and they also sort of give us a purpose. I saw a really funny T-shirt at a convention that said, "I work hard so my cat can have a good life."
Yeah.
and I think that's very true for a lot of pet owners. So I just had a deep love and passion for pets, but it goes a little bit further than that for me. I realized that what I really care about, more so than, there's so many different things we can do with our pets. And I did a little bit of competing in dog agility and some training. I'm by no means a professional dog trainer, but I played around a lot of different things. And what I found made me happiest was when my pet was at So that could be we've just taken a hike and I'm watching them enjoy themselves on that hike, or maybe we're back home and they're blissfully passed out on the couch. But any of those moments where I have fully satisfied sort of their energy demands, and maybe we've just finished playing a game of chase and their tongue is hanging out and they've got this big old wide grin, right? Those are the moments for me that are really, truly special. And they're the moments that I feel the happiest when I'm with my pets. That, and then also sort of solving friction points for them. So I have a dog now who is a little bit anxious and she can be a little bit fearful. And so just finding ways to help her navigate through life in a way that makes her confident and comfortable. I've been diving deeper into that too. So making them happy and comfortable and seeing them live their best lives.
Yeah. And now, moving from your personal experience to your first step as an entrepreneur, let's talk about the beginning of SwiftPaws. So can you walk us through your first prototype you built with your dad and like how that led to your first product launch?
Yeah, so after discovering the sport of lure coursing, there's nowhere to try it. So I thought I'd buy a machine. They were way too expensive. And I was like, okay, maybe I'll build one. And that's famous last words because everything always seems easier than it is at the outset. So my dad and I, it was the summer that I graduated from university, and I had taken the summer off. I was doing dog agility. And so that whole summer, he and I were just sort of tinkering. So we're playing around in the garage, coming up with all these different contraptions, like, how are we going to drive this string around? And by the end of the summer, over several tried and failed prototypes, we came up with something that was a little bit rough around the edges, but it worked. And my dog loved it. And that ultimately led to the very first event that I ever did, because I wanted to then share this thing that we'd made with like my agility friends and other people in my community.
Yeah. And like, what kind of challenges did you face, in transitioning from professional grade equipment to now for events to now like consumer friendly home products?
Yeah, so let's fast forward. That machine that my dad and I built was very much DIY, and so sometimes when people say, "Oh my God, like I think I could make one," I am so supportive of it. Like, by the way, like I'm probably the world's worst salesperson. You don't have to buy my products to give your dogs a good life, right? Or your cat or your pet. I believe in enrichment. So that could be buying a product, right? If you see a product that you like and you think it's going to add value, that can also mean doing it DIY. And so, yeah, my very first machine was really a DIY project, but that developed into professional grade equipment. That professional grade equipment carried the company for the first 7 years. So we go from 2012 all the way up until the very first consumer version, our first backyard version, did not ship until 2019. So it's a very long time to be working on something in one capacity and then sort of pivoting to consumer. And that's when I say that time frame, 2019, is when I say that SwiftPaws became a real startup, because now we were an e-commerce brand and we had a consumer product and we were doing more than just selling to professionals. And that was a big shift because the professional grade equipment is something that we could make and did make largely with our hands, right? It was all very mechanical. Scaling that down for a consumer product, we had to look at things like electronics. So we needed a circuit board, which our professional grade equipment didn't have. We also needed software and we needed injection molding. We did have some plastic components in our professional grade equipment, but like we were pouring 2-part plastics into silicone molds, like by hand. So it's a big leap to go from that, which you can literally build A to Z in a very small space, a garage, a small office, wherever you are, to actually trying to design and develop something for production. And in fact, our very first production of consumer product was 1,000 kits. And by comparison, in the first 7 years of business, we'd only made and sold about 100 pro kits. So it's a very quick way to 10x your business and also 10x your problems.
Yeah, definitely. And with problems, comes feedback as well from the consumers, right? So can you share any unexpected feedback or like use cases from customer that kind of like surprised you?
Yeah. So our earliest product for backyard use, which we actually launched on Kickstarter, those customers were so incredible, right? Like they hung in there with us. We were several months late delivering on the Kickstarter. And it was a big lesson in a few things. The first thing is development, producing a product, it's going to take longer and cost more than you ever imagine it will. So do your best estimate, double that number, and you'll still probably be a little bit off. But at the same time, it also made me realize just how firmly I wanted to stick to what my fundamentals were, which are I want everybody who's a part of this journey, whether it's a supplier, a customer, anybody. I want everybody as a part of this to be as excited as I am. And so even though after the Kickstarter ended, we did not necessarily have to refund anybody if they wanted their money back. We just did. Like it did not make sense to me to keep somebody on this journey that didn't want to be there. And I think that messaging helped because we were late. I mean, it took longer. It was harder to put out than we imagined it was. And so after probably about 6 months, and we were doing updates frequently, I kind of just went to people, did a video, sent out emails and said, look, we get that this is taking a long time. If for any reason at all, like you're just not there on that journey with us anymore, let us know. We will give you all of your money back. And I think it did two things. I think the first thing it did was it made people feel like they weren't stuck. So it was their choice to either stick with us or not. And then the other thing is the people who weren't able to, life changes. So something that you backed months ago, maybe your whole life situation is different. And now this is something that you have a lever to pull. You're like, this isn't working out for me. I'd like to get a refund. And I've stayed with that. So now anytime we do a pre-order campaign, anybody can always cancel that order for a full refund. I think it speaks to the fact that I really deeply care about our customers. And when you talk about customer feedback, after we did get all of our products into our earliest customers' hands, one of the funny bits of feedback was that the remote used to charge. So you had a little cable and you would charge it up. And it had a little light on the internally on its circuit board that would go from red to blue when it was charged. Well, that light didn't have a great way of shining through the case. So you kind of had to put your hands around it and look, or maybe go in a dark room before you could see that light change color. And so one of the earliest pieces of feedback we got was, we need to know when it's charging and when it's fully charged. And having to cup your hands around it or go in a dark room is not a good answer. But that brings me to one final thing, and that is for those earliest customers, for honestly any customer, as we learn and get feedback and grow, we've always been a community-driven brand, and we've always been able to listen to our community. We take care of them. So any Kickstarter customer, as we came out with Generation 2 and made improvements, we will upgrade them. And we do that at no cost or at cost. And that just depends, right? So we've got all those earliest customers. When we came out with our next version, we offered them an upgrade at no cost. And even today, if they are one of those earliest customers, if they want to upgrade even to the latest and greatest, we'll do that at cost. And that's something, again, speaks to the fact that I started out with a community. And no matter how big we get, I still feel like listening to your community and taking care of your community is two of the best things you could do for your business.
Wow, definitely. And Meghan, as your business grew, scaling operation without compromising quality must have been important, right? So how do you manage scaling your operations while maintaining the high quality American made product?
You don't always. Really, really honestly, you get things wrong sometimes.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'll give a really good example. We'll fast forward even farther to Chase. So Chase was launched in 2023, and we developed it all year long, and we promised that we were going to try to ship it in time for the holidays. And we ended up shipping out the first batch of Chase the Thursday before Christmas 2023. So we were right on that deadline. We had done a significant amount of testing. And now Chase was our very first version that was app compatible. So you could actually control it with the SwiftPaws app. And as you might imagine, there's more than one phone in the world. There's more than one operating system. And so what we didn't realize when we shipped them out was that certain Android models were reading the code a little bit differently. So there was a bit of code missing.
Okay.
Most devices, iPhone, most Androids, because that bit was missing, it didn't matter. It just skipped right over it and kept going because it wasn't necessary. And I'm probably not doing this justice because I am not an engineer, but this is at least my lived experience. So you're getting it from my point of view.
Yeah.
Certain Android devices, when they saw that it was missing, went, that's a problem. We won't talk to this device.
Okay.
And that means that out of the pre-orders that we shipped, we had several customers who got it and physically couldn't run their device. And I laugh about it now, but it was so stressful. And of course, like, I would never intentionally ship something that I knew wouldn't work for a customer. But there are so many different phones out there. And so what ended up happening was, and thank goodness, Chase is also our very first device that we can do OTA, we can do over-the-air updates. So we can push updates out even once it's in a customer's hands. And so we were able to either replace those devices or get an update out to them. And we did that in fairly short order, but that was a stressful few weeks. First of all, recognizing there's a problem. Then realizing that out of we probably tested 16 plus different phones, right? Like, we had many, many different phones that we were testing the app on. And we just didn't come across this outlying case, this edge case where it could happen. So when you're scaling, I think you do the very best job you can. And I think it's important to stay so true to the things that you deeply care about. So if that's safety, quality, durability, those are our big three, then I will never make a conscious decision to move forward if safety, durability, or quality are not meeting the standard that I would want to put in a customer's hands. There are other things that we will compromise on, right? So there's been times where, like, stuff's come in and, like, maybe it's a printed material and the print is off by just a little bit. It's going to delay shipping if we try to wait to reprint it. Those are judgment calls that every founder, I think, is faced with. So my advice would be, know what you're willing to compromise on and what you're not. Because when you start to compromise on things that start to, like, shake the foundation of who you are and what you want the brand to be, you start to just, like, lose track of really
basically those values are your foundations of your brand. So.
Exactly. So as you scale, mo money, mo problems, right? Like, more product, more. As things get bigger, it gets harder to try to stay on top of it all. So you have to get really, really organized. You have to listen to your customers even more than you ever have. You have to not compromise on those values that you think are really core.
And for someone who might be listening to this podcast, entrepreneurship can also, like, bring doubt, right? Especially in the early years. So were there moments in early years, like, where you doubted whether SwiftPaws could grow into a sustainable business?
Oh, of course. I mean, there's still moments today. Are you kidding me? A friend of mine said it really well. They said that when you're an entrepreneur and you're running your own business, the highs are really high and the lows are really lonely. I think everybody would understand if I said the lows are really low, and they are. Like, the low points are low, but they're really lonely. And it's hard to sit with yourself when everything feels like the walls are closing in on you. And that's a really challenging space. And there's not too many other people out there in the world in a similar position. So that's where peer groups, friend groups are really vital. Even if somebody's not going through exactly what you're going through, having those peer relationships, and by that I mean, I know other founders in the pet space. They're not making exactly what I'm making. They have different products, different services, but we've all been in similar positions before. So we can empathize to a degree with each other. It's so important. It's so important not to be afraid to have those trusted relationships with people that you can talk about and share what you're going through. And they understand that it doesn't mean that you love your business any less. It doesn't mean that you're giving up. It means that what you're going through right now is really hard, and that's okay. And so that's really critical. And the other thing too, like early on, right? Every single time you try to do something new, feels like the wheels come off the wagon. So you make a product, you start shipping it out, you get some feedback. Every time we make a new product,
Yeah.
this is big advice here, hot tip. I make a never again list. So
Yeah.
that means
Yeah.
that if
Yeah.
I've just come through assembling my first 1,000 units,
Yeah.
there's going to be stuff I never want to have to do
Yeah.
that way again. So
Uh-huh.
that might mean next time I don't want as many screws in my device, like from Home Original and Home Plus uh, to to Chase. We also redesigned our pulleys. Our
Okay.
pulleys went from 19 individual components that made up a
Wow.
pulley to 4.
Hmm.
So we really simplified it. And granted, the professional grade pulleys are beefy and they are what you need when you're running professional competitive type of events, but they're overkill for backyard use. So
Yeah.
as you look to the future, having that never again list is great. Saying, I never want to screw in another,
Yeah.
if there's one screw too many, I don't want to do it. And
Yeah.
those things, it's hard in the moment, right? Because you just want to push through and you just want to get to the finish line. You just want to ship the product. But taking a little second to say, okay, what part of this process or what part of this release of the product don't I like and would I want to change? Just capturing that, and then you can come back to it and work on it for the future.
Wow. Wow. Love it. Talking more about the branding and marketing strategy, beyond the product itself, SwiftPaws has definitely a strong brand identity, right? So how did you go about building your brand from scratch?
It was really, really organic.
Yeah.
I came up with the name SwiftPaws. I've always thought that the name for the competitive sport, which is lure coursing, is a
Okay.
little bit weird. You
Okay.
kind of have to know what it is. Like if you walk up to somebody on the street and you say lure coursing, are they
Yeah.
going to know
Yeah. Yeah.
what words you're saying? Like it's
Yeah.
so. I always felt that the brand could be more than just a lure coursing brand. So I also wanted it to embody like activity and action. So Swift Paws came together from a bunch of sessions of just like what's going to embody
Yeah.
active, happy pets, and that's what it
Mm.
was.
Mm.
But I hand drew actually the first logo. And
Okay.
it kind of made it look like a dog running, but it also was the lettering. I am not an artist. It was not my best work.
Yeah.
But that brings me to something, and I'm a strong believer in this with everything:
Uh-huh.
branding, product, and that's MVP, minimum viable product,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is like get something good enough and get it
Mm.
out there.
Mm.
The
Mm.
purpose isn't to like get out something that is baseline and then live on it forever. No, the point is to get something as
And get the feedback on
minimal
it.
that you can
Yeah.
show to somebody, yes,
Mm.
and get
Mm.
the feedback. So
Mm.
that
Mm.
logo carried us from 2012 all the way
Okay.
to 2018,
Wow.
or 17, I guess, where we were like thinking about the backyard version. And then it was
Uh-huh.
like, okay, if this is going to be a consumer brand with a website and any, we need a logo refresh. And
Yeah.
that's when we actually hired a little bit of professional help, rebranded, right?
Yeah.
Designed a new logo, got a new icon.
Yeah.
The Swift Paws logo that you see today is when that
Mm.
came together. So again, your community will drive your brand.
Mm.
So what we've realized is that our community really celebrates play. Like we really strongly celebrate playing with our dogs and giving them those amazing experiences. So if you go anywhere on socials, you
Mm.
will largely see our customers and their pets, and we're just shining a spotlight on them.
Wow.
And UGC is a great, strong social content play
Definitely.
strategy, but also what's what we want to see. Like we're not sharing a bunch of UGC because it's a good marketing strategy. We're sharing a bunch of our
Just
customers'
yeah.
dogs
Uh-huh.
playing with the products because that's what we want to see too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you'll very rarely see like a
Mm.
message from SwiftPaws or a professionally shot video. Every now
Mm.
and again, sure.
Yeah.
But by and large, the brand has been like crafted and driven by what our customers want, what our community is organically sharing.
Mm. Mm. And people who might be listening to this podcast, standing out in a crowded market takes creativity, right? So what do you think? Like, are there any creative campaigns, a strategy SwiftPaws marketing team has used to stand out in a crowded pet product market?
Uh, I love a show and tell. And my product lends itself really, really well to that. So for many years of the business, it's what led me to getting tired of hearing people say that they needed one in their backyard, and that made me build a backyard version. Was when we would go to events, right? You think about your, like, I don't know, bark in the park. Every community has one. You go to the event, there's a bunch of vendors, there's a bunch of doggy daycares, dog trainers, treat vendors, you name it. If it's a dog-friendly event, they'll have treats and stuff like that. They might have a little demonstration show where you can watch a dog, like, doing a fun act. They might have a little, like, agility area where you can try some jumps and stuff with your dog. But by and large, there's not a whole lot to do with your pet there, apart from walk around and get treats and look at the products. And so no matter who you are or what you're doing, having something that people can actually engage with. So with SwiftPaws, it's super easy. When we would go into an event, we would not attend an event if we could not set up a try it course. So I'm not going to pay for a vendor space and tell you about my product when I could let your dog try it. And that served us really well. And then it became an entertainment piece. And actually, several events actually will want to hire in a provider to offer a lure course as an activity for people to do, which is really cool. But even if let's just say that you're going to one of these events and you're, I don't know, a dog treat vendor, and you make homemade treats and you're just trying to get the word out there about your business, have something fun to do when the people come by your booth. That could be as simple as, like, they make these really inexpensive, like paw print things. It's like on one side it has ink, but on the other side it's plastic, so it's not messy. So you could say, like, here, make your dog their own little paw print souvenir to take home with them, or something that is going to engage both the person and their pet and you together, and that's going to be so much more lasting. Now, that is not a very scalable method. So the one word of caution is that for me, I was so organic with it all. I mean, I spent 7 years traveling the country doing events, and I probably heard well over 10,000 people in that time say that they desperately wanted one of these at home before I actually made a backyard version. So if you take my advice, you'll probably grow really slowly, like I did. But at the same time, there's something to be said for making that one-on-one connection. So if you're translating that to social media, something that is going to be engaging. Somebody in our community posted a picture with their dog wearing a pair of sunglasses, and they're like, whatever it was, and like everybody jumped in and were replying with their dog wearing sunglasses. It was like really, it was just silly and super easy. Everybody's got sunglasses, doing stuff like that, inviting people to join you and participating in something that's fun and easy and not like and tag and share. I think deepens the connection.
Yeah. A bit off topic, Megan, something that I just crossed my mind. Do you think that pet industry as a whole is a bit saturated, let's say, uh, in the pet product space as well, in enrichment product space as well, in the pet food sector or somewhere like, let's say, pet treat? Do you think that this industry is saturated, or like there's still a gap where new pet brand founders, entrepreneurs can, scale their product?
I think as soon as you believe there's nothing that can come across as new, something will come out of the woodwork and surprise you. There's always opportunity, right? Like the next innovation that you go and you look at and you go, oh my God, why didn't I think of that? It's always there. It's always there. And it's about people and founders, right? So I was living in a future that didn't exist for most people. During that time period from 2012 to 2019, when I was making professional grade equipment, I was living in a world where I had access to lure coursing in my backyard. I could see how cool it was. I was traveling the country doing public events where I got to show people this. Their dogs got to try it. I got to watch them feel like it was Christmas morning, having the best time of their lives. And then those people were seeing this magic happen, seeing their dog have the just have the best time they've ever had, and then go, oh my God, having this at home would be incredible. So I was getting a glimpse into a world where if this existed, I could see it fitting in and solving problems for people and being a valuable product and activity in the world. And so there's other founders all the time, whether it's in pet food, like you might think, oh my God, one more pet food brand, like how, but there's always going to be that niche.
Wow.
That somebody right now, I guarantee you, is sitting there going, working on this problem, going, oh, there's this thing uniquely, or my dog has a specific dietary restriction or whatever that could be.
Mm-hmm.
And they are going to unlock that next thing. So I think too, what's interesting is we see the pet humanization trend has brought on so many more brands moving in this direction. So we see the better for you pet food and treats and grooming products, and right. So like what we accepted before, we don't necessarily accept now, or we have more guidelines. We want stuff to be safe, healthy. So we are thinking about our pets in different ways. That's going to open up room for a lot of people to jump in. And sometimes the saturation happens because there's big opportunity.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think there's always room for another car dealership on the road. I think there's always room for another founder. And then you have to ask yourself, because it's such a hard road, right? So you have to ask yourself, am I jumping at this because I think that there's opportunity here, or I see this brand doing really well and I want a piece of that? Yeah. Or am I doing this because like I couldn't live without it? And personally, I couldn't live without it, or I'm not going to give it what it takes to make a go of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And talking about the marketing itself, reaching the right audience is crucial for any pet product or pet service out there. What marketing channels have been the most effective for reaching pet owners for SwiftPaws?
So, I mean, video is where it's at for us. Seeing is believing. Seeing a dog chasing something around is truly it. But I will say this too, think old school website, SEO, strong backlinks, all of that stuff. And I know that these are some services that is actually in the area of your expertise. We were really fortunate that for many, many years, we were the only lure coursing around, like in the state of Florida even, and in my area for sure. And so what ended up happening was SwiftPaws became very high ranking for lure coursing, machine.
Yeah. Basically, it became the authority brand in the market.
Yeah. And that happened without me trying to do that. But that doesn't mean that I don't value it now, because at the time, it's not like I was an e-commerce brand. I wasn't relying on traffic to my website for sales. But now I look back and I go, wow, thank goodness I spent those 7 years becoming really an authority in the space. And so, I mean, hands down, every ad dollar we spend is to show somebody a dog or a cat now having fun with the product. But that said, there's also a strong foundation of, lure coursing articles and anything in and around the sport, the activity, does also naturally with search, kind of all roads lead back to us. And for that, I'm very grateful.
Yeah. And also appearing on Shark Tank is a huge milestone for any brand, right?
You cannot pay for that kind of exposure.
Definitely. Yeah. So, Meghan, like, how did that appearance, impact your brand and marketing strategy? And also, like, how was your experience on the Shark Tank?
Oh, I had such an incredible experience. I mean, not everybody does, right? Some people walk in and the sharks tell them that their baby's ugly and that they should stick to their day job. And I was prepared for that. But, they say it takes 10 years to make an overnight success. And when I was pitching to the Sharks, SwiftPaws had just had its 10-year anniversary. So we'd been in business for 10 years when I found myself out there pitching. And I'm sure that people have different reasons for going on Shark Tank. I had next to zero personal aspiration of going on Shark Tank. In fact, I was a little worried about putting myself out there. Historically, like I would not have been putting my face on the website. Like I wasn't selling me. And so I was a little nervous about that too.
Okay.
But what really pushed me to go for it was that I felt that if any single one of the sharks saw enough in my brand and in me and what I was doing to
Yeah.
want to make me an offer,
Yeah.
that it was just so much validation. It would be so much validation for what I was doing. And then
Definitely.
being able, the prospect of being able to partner with one of them, um, it was just like, it was too good of an opportunity to pass up. So even though I had my reservations. I thought,
Yeah.
man, my company's not big enough yet. We don't
Mm-hmm.
have the product that I'd really love to have for this
Yeah.
type of a thing. I have a degree in economics, so I'm very analytical background. So I looked at the products that do really, really well on Shark Tank, and they're largely lower cost products. So they're,
Yeah. Yeah.
the products I brought on Shark Tank cost nearly $500.
Yeah.
And so, you really talk yourself out of a lot of
Mm.
opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm grateful that I didn't in this case. So of course I went out, and spoiler alert,
Mm.
I pitched, and Lori, actually, I wear it. Lori actually gave me her golden ticket,
Yeah. Yeah.
in which she only does once a season. And it means that she believes so much in the brand and in the
Yeah.
founder,
Yeah.
that she offers you the deal that you went in asking for.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was so transformative to me, because it was
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, not only does she believe in the business enough to want to make me an offer, but like, holy crap.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was just this huge
Uh-huh.
relief and awe, and I
Uh-huh.
couldn't believe it. I was deer in the headlights.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, that's the moment that I remember that I wanted to share that Pretzel, the little dog that got me started in all of this,
Yeah.
who I had lost earlier that year,
Mm-hmm.
that his paw prints are on every single product. And
Wow.
so I'm like tearfully trying to share that. But it was a really emotional moment, and
Definitely.
jumping forward to when everybody got to see it, right? So it aired in April of 2022.
Yeah.
And the response was incredible. I thought I'd get a lot of people going like, wow, that's a really expensive dog toy,
Yeah.
which it is.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't be wrong. But in reality, people were going, oh my God, like your story and Pretzel, and I was crying when you were talking about this. And this is so incredible that you're trying to give dogs, mental and physical stimulation. And I can't wait for you to come out with a more affordable version.
Okay.
That was the takeaway. It wasn't shame on you, it's too expensive.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
good for you, you're on your way. I can't afford it right now, but please tell me when you have a version that's more affordable.
Wow.
And it was the fuel that we needed. So in the 3 years since Shark Tank, we've scaled the product down in both size and price, and launched Chase, and most recently Pounce, which is behind me, is our indoor version for cats and little
Wow.
dogs.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And Megan, I'm just curious, like, how does this partnership work? Is it like Laurie give you business advice also beside the funding as well? Is it like how does that work after the Shark Tank?
Yeah. So there's two things, right? There's Shark Tank, and then there's doing a deal with the shark.
Yeah, yeah.
And not every deal that happens on TV actually goes through. In fact, I think
Okay.
there's several articles that you can read about that.
Okay.
So once again, I find myself so grateful that not only did Lori and I do the deal on air, but we actually ended up closing on a deal as well. And
Yeah.
so having Lori as a partner, as a mentor, she's incredible. Like I don't know when she sleeps. The sheer number of businesses that she supports,
Crazy.
and she's so proactive. Like several times a year, I'll get reached out to, and they'll be like, hey, like this holiday is coming up. Do you guys have any special promotions? Can we
Wow.
help?
Wow.
It's so cool. And at the same time, relationships. I don't care if it's with Lori or if it's with your neighbor. Relationships are what you put into them. And so for me, I try to, when I go to Lori and her team, I try to go to them with as much information as I could possibly give them.
Definitely.
If I've got questions, here's some possible solutions. And so it's helped me also. I want to be so respectful of her time, and it's helped me become a better communicator in that way.
Wow.
And what's incredible is every single time I reach out, I get a reply directly from Lori, like the same day always, and like
Wow.
oftentimes within the same hour. It's
Wow.
incredible. It's So it also inspires me to, I feel like I have a lot on my plate.
Yeah, yeah.
And she has that times like 100 different portfolio
Crazy.
companies.
Uh-huh.
So it also inspires me to keep going, because what she's able to do and what
Mm.
she's able and how she's able to support her companies, it's pretty cool.
Love it.
Um,
Love
and
it.
and uh, and every time I've asked for something, like she and her team, like, and of course, like, I kind of thought it, because they've been doing this for so long now. I kind of thought it would be like, here's my team's contact if you need anything. No, like, I'll reach out, and even if it's something that like the social media team might handle,
Yeah.
Lori herself will chime in and reply, and so I'm like,
Wow.
gosh, she's just putting
Wow.
personal attention on everything.
Yeah.
Very impressive. And I'm very grateful for that type of relationship with her.
Definitely. Love it. Love it. Megan, like talking about industry insight and trends, trends in pet sports and enrichment are evolving quickly. So how do you see trends in pet sports and enrichment evolving, let's say, in the next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah. I see just a doubling down on wanting to do more for our pets. I think
Okay.
we saw that start in pet nutrition with
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
better for you pet foods, fresh, frozen, raw, all of that. I think
Mhm.
we're also seeing that huge shift in healthcare. So that could be preventative care, that could be drugs, that could be procedures. And I think the next big vertical of pet wellness
Mm.
is this enrichment piece. So that's going to be everything from education. So, like, learning about our pet's behavior in a deeper way, understanding that this thing that my dog does, he's coming up to me. Maybe he really wants engagement. Maybe he's not just asking for a treat, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, simple things, simple shifts in our mentality and how we look at our pets, right? So,
Mm.
to do better for them, I think we have to better understand them. And I think we've arrived. Like, we want to understand our pets as deeply as we can. And so there's going to be a doubling down on services, products, everything surrounding
Yeah.
doing better and taking better care of our pets. And that also includes play. So I really believe that play is essential. It's essential to behavioral wellness, movement, longevity,
Yeah.
and quality of life. And so play does not exist if there's not a baseline of comfort, right? So if a pet is starving, they're not going to play. If a pet is injured, you're not going to see play
Definitely.
behavior.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
actually, play is unlocking the next level. So
Mhm.
if you've met all their basic needs, if they're well fed, well vaccinated, right, they have basic training, play is that next step. It elevates you to a place where now you can explore your bond. You can learn about their likes and dislikes. I think about the predatory cycle, right?
Yeah.
Where if a dog or a cat were out hunting in the woods, they would be sort of orienting, they'd lock onto a prey, they would
Yeah.
start to stalk, they'd chase, they'd catch. And not every pet is going to enjoy every step of the predatory cycle. But how cool is it that we can explore with different tools and DIY stuff and activities which parts of the predatory cycle our little predators that are in our homes are enjoying. And
Yeah.
I get to see other brands too. So, for example,
Mhm.
Terribles are these really amazing tear apart toys. They're like Velcro arms and legs. You can rip off the limbs and then you
Yeah.
can put them back together again.
Mm.
And so, for a pet that likes to shred, maybe you've had that pet tear up a couch. Well, now we can, instead of going bad dog,
Yeah.
snuff out this behavior, we can look deeper, go down another layer and think, okay, what could be lying under the surface? What's driving this dog, motivating this dog to do it? Is it anxiety because it happens when we're not home, or is it that they
Yeah.
have some pent up energy? And maybe
Mhm.
we layer in things like the Terribles toys to help satisfy that natural instinct. And the same thing for chasing, right? You can get a SwiftPaws device to really satisfy that chasing instinct, and catching is,
Yeah.
I think, every time they chase, they should catch. It's the satisfaction, it's the reward of a job well done.
Yeah.
And so whether it's a flirt pole or whether it's a ball, chasing is such a big instinct that so many of our pets really have as a deep natural instinct that they want to fulfill.
Definitely, definitely. Last question from my end, Megan. Let's look ahead, like what's next for SwiftPaws and your vision for the brand. So what's next for SwiftPaws? Are there any exciting product launches, partnership, or goals you are aiming for in the next few years?
Yeah, so we actually just launched Pounce. I talked about it earlier,
Yeah, yeah.
but just this last weekend, we did an official launch party for Pounce.
Okay.
And Pounce is that culmination. So that is the indoor version for cats and little dogs. And coming on the heels of Pounce, I think you might start to see some accessories for Pounce and some new things to go along with it that we're
Okay.
really excited about over the upcoming year.
Mm.
And then the only other things are other enrichment solutions to help meet our pets' needs at every age and stage of their lives. So that could be our partnership with Posler with the modular puzzle toys, or with Terribles. They have a new product they call Destructibles that we've been partnering with them on. And we're looking to continue those relationships, deepen them, bring on new products as they exist,
Wow.
and truly give pet parents
Yeah.
those options. Because it's all, you have to have more than one tool in your toolbox, because
Definitely.
not every tool is right for every pet.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. And how do you do this sort of like market research? Okay, this product is something that the pet parents really want.
I mean, again, I let the community tell me. You know,
Okay.
if it's not something people are excited about, and I get the luxury. It really is a luxury of being in front of my customer, right? We do
Yeah.
events. We're out there in the public, and I
Okay.
mean, when I was looking at some of these other products, I got it into the hands of people. And what do you think about it? You know, and why is this better than what we already have?
Mm.
And so if it works, you know pretty quickly. And I would say this too: if you're testing a new product, you're trying, don't go too far down the road, right? You could develop and spend thousands of dollars and bring something to life only to not have people want it.
Yeah.
Again, back to MVP.
Yeah.
When I was testing a sort of a Terribles version that you could rip off of a flirt pole, right? A toy that when you're playing with the flirt pole, when they catch it, they can tear it off, which is so cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I did it with like a sock and a strip of Velcro.
Yeah.
And not that I encourage you to actually play with your dogs with socks, but a great way to test it. And my
Mm.
dog loved it. So I thought,
Yeah.
okay, like now let's get an actual little prototype. Let's play with it. Let's see if this will continue.
Love it. Love it. Megan, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your incredible journey with SwiftPaws.
Marna, thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure getting to know you a little bit as well,
Yeah.
and wishing you all the best success with the podcast in the future.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I know our listeners, fellow pet brand founders and entrepreneurs are going to take away a lot of actionable ideas from our conversation. To our listeners, thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with your other fellow pet industry professionals who are looking to grow their brand. Uh, yeah, that's it. That's the end of the podcast. Thank you so much, Megan, once again.